This is Coach Cofield here with Coach Jarrod Hickman. How you doing today, Coach?
Doing good, Coach. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. Getting able to talk to some coaches about football and things. We're going to start off. I wanted to find out something about you, Coach. What started the journey to you being a coach?
Well, I don't know if I had much of a choice. I mean, I'm the son of a coach's kid, and grew up in that kind of family. There's many of them out there, and I was in a gym before I could blink. I think. I mean, those are my early memories. If I wasn't playing sports, I was at a ball field watching Dad coach, watching my brother play. So that really got me into it. I've always had a love for it, and I think I knew at a pretty early age this is what I wanted to do.
Yeah, you've been pretty successful at Florida High. Have you ever coached anywhere else?
No, I didn't. I played ball, and I thought about doing something like that, but honestly, I felt like I had a guy that was, a pretty darn good mentor in my father, and didn't really feel the need to kind of go somewhere else. He always told me I could, but I really just felt like I could learn a lot from him, and kind of go from there.
How many years have you been coaching?
I believe this is my 19th year as the head coach, and 22 or 23 overall.
We were talking before. I saw you play high school. You make me feel kind of old, Coach.
Yeah.
You've been coaching 20 years. I think I only coached like 30. So, man, you've been doing it. Now, you had some pretty successful years starting off at Florida and in your head coaching career.
Yeah.
What might be one of the most memorable years you had that you could think of right now?
My third year in 2007 was an incredible year. We went undefeated, which was really the first time that had happened, and since the 1960s. We went all the way to the Final Four, ended up losing a really close game to Newberry High School. And so, that really, in your third year, I thought, honestly, I had it figured out, which I clearly didn't. But it was a remarkable year with a remarkable team. And, getting pretty old. Those guys are all old with their kids now. So, but that was a heck of a year, and really felt like, okay, we can do this. We just want to be consistent with that. We've tried to do that ever since.
Well, you've been around a good while, so you can kind of estimate where you put this team. What's your expectation for this group you got now?
Well, I mean, I think we want to try to get back to the state championship. I mean, that's our goal every year. We don't ever want to lower those expectations. We want the kids to try to reach for that, and it's incredibly hard in this state with the amount of really good coaches and players you have. But those are our goals. Obviously, we have some other goals to kind of get to that first. You want to win a district title. That's really important. That allows you home games. We want to win a region title first, but always trying to be in that Final Four. When you're down to 4, you've given yourself a shot. And I think this group can get there, but ultimately they have to go out and do it.
Yeah, you guys, I got a chance to watch you practice, and look like you working with your coaches. I went there 2 years ago. It looks just about the same in how you organize your practice. Well, you learned that from your dad, how to organize practices, and because it was a little upbeat. A lot of high schools not like that.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely took some things that he did, but I think there was an older model of how to do things, and one of the things we tried to do was do a lot of research in our early days about how the colleges were practicing. I've been fortunate enough to been to some pro practices, and so we kind of took that model and said, how can we incorporate it into what we do? We don't have the manpower that those schools have everywhere, but we want our kids to be upbeat. We want them to be absolutely moving. We don't want to have any wasted time in our practices. And so that's a part of our conditioning, and we think we've set up a pretty good system.
Maybe I noticed it, but you had the JV practicing with the varsity. Is that a concept you've been doing since you've been there, or something later?
Yeah, no, that is something Dad did. And so we have always been together ever since I was in high school. We never separate. It allows us to develop those kids. We coach them all too. And that was absolutely, we've been doing that same thing ever since he was coaching, that we practice together. And there's a benefit there for those young kids, and it helps rest our older kids some too. They don't always have to be scout team every play.
So JV has separate schedule, middle school separate. Do you switch them up sometime with the playing varsity and going back down to JV sometimes?
No, we've really been fortunate enough that we haven't had to do that. The middle school has their own separate situation, kind of under our umbrella, but we don't have to worry that they're over there. And the JVs, we just work together. So, really, we don't bring kids up and down. Now, I can tell you with the 6-quarter rule lately, we've used some of that, which I think is a good thing for our state. Just as depth, it's really helped us provide a little bit of depth there. But for the most part, we want our kids, if they're going to play JV that year, we want them to develop and play. And if they're ready to play varsity ball, that's where they'll be.
What is the 6-quarter rule? Maybe you can explain that.
Yeah, it just means at the start of the week, every kid gets a chance to play 6 quarters. So if you play a JV game on a Thursday night, or some people play them on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and you play 4 quarters, it still means that you're allowed to play in a varsity game 2 quarters. If you only play the kid 3 quarters, he can play 3 quarters. So, if you're a school that only has 1 quarterback, or your JV kid can maybe step in and do that, you want to have some kids in emergency situations to be able to help you.
I noticed one thing, just jumping all around here, that Florida have been different classifications.
Yeah.
You go up, down. How does that affect the planning for the season? Does it matter the level that you're playing at, the classification, the way the state changes it?
No, I don't think it matters, because I think mostly it doesn't. I don't really get a say in it. So, we're going to play where we play. We have been up, essentially right now we're kind of playing in that 4A, 5A class where the numbers are set right now. And sometimes we've been, smaller. But no, I think we've always tried to go out and just play a really good, tough schedule to get ourselves prepared for the end of the season. And, that's certainly helped us as we've grown throughout the years to try to play a really good caliber, tough schedule.
Well, seems like to me you've been very fortunate, very great coach, and you always got a kicker.
Yeah.
And I coached for a long time. That was one of the hardest things to find. And does that matter? Is it because you got a soccer team, or as a kid you point them out, or come from the middle school? I mean, how you come up with these guys that kick like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've just been fortunate. I mean, we get to know our kids pretty good here because, we're K through 12. So we've known them for a long time, and I can kind of see if I have some kickers. And we've just been blessed to have a couple different brothers. The Varnador brothers were outstanding for about 7 years for us. And then the Allball brothers now were incredible. We just have always had a kicker here at Florida High, and I'm thankful for that. And, we work with them well, and it's a weapon. We're special teams are important. And, we've been blessed to have really good kickers.
Yeah, I noticed that being coached against you, you always had great special teams. You always had kids that could kick, which is that's a luxury in football, especially in high school football. You got to stop a team when they get to the 20-yard line. That's a score for the other team, for you. Knowing you for as long as I have, I noticed something. Your coaching staff seemed to be kind of stable. The defensive coordinator with Coach Harley and some of the guys that you coach with. I mean, how do you manage that, Coach? I mean, a lot of schools you go to, it's a different staff every year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it means I'm doing things right or treated them pretty right, but they've stuck around for a long time. And yeah, our defensive coordinator, Julius Harley, he's been with me since day one. Kevin Helms, my secondary coach, assistant head coach, has been there. My offensive coordinator, Matt Wheeler, we've been together for 15, 16 plus years. So I've got about 4 or 5 coaches on my staff that have been together and kind of kept that glue for a long time. And I guess I'm treating them right somehow, some way, because they don't run away. So, but they're really the ones that deserve a ton of the credit. They do an incredible job, not only during the season, but during the off season too, really getting our kids prepared.
Yeah, what kind of things y'all do in the off season to help get you prepared for the season?
We break it down into different phases, but really that first early phase in January, for a couple months, we're trying to build strength, really trying to bulk as much as we can. And then agility comes into play. We want to develop the whole player. We're obviously encouraging kids to be multiple sport kids. We're big believers in that. But we absolutely want to make sure our footwork is really good, and then just develop them as a football player. Every position has things that they need to improve upon. So we try to take the time to do that. And then the summer, you're really just getting your body ready for the season. So we're really trying to run and condition a lot, maintain the stuff we've done in the off season.
One thing I do notice, you get a lot of kids getting recruited out of your school. I don't know if that's great coaching or what, but I noticed that you always got somebody going D1, or you have quite a few kids getting to the next level.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just we want to develop the whole kid. We're super proud of the way we've developed these kids. We get to know our kids quite a bit early, and so we've developed them throughout all my years. And we absolutely, their dreams to play at a high level, then we want to do everything we can to help them to get there, whether it's Division I or Division III. We want to help these kids any way we can. We want to try to promote them. We think we've done a really good job of adapting to the Twitter age these days. But all the way from Brandon Jenkins, who went to Florida State, was a high round draft pick, from Ronnie Harrison, to certainly the guys, Ashton Hampton, Mekhi Danzy, the guys we have now, and so many more. We've really just helped develop these kids. And I think that they'll tell you that we help them develop both on and off the field. So, we've got a couple guys in the pros right now, 2 or 3, which is really good at a small school like ours. So we're excited about that and feel good that we've helped so many kids get to there.
Well, Coach, when you start off this season, I look at some of the things that you guys done over the years, coming and watch you practice, watching your games. As far as the group that you got, I know I asked you earlier about the group you have. What do you think the strengths of this class you got coming up here this year?
We've got experience. I mean, it's one of those things as a coach you always want, and we've got it in a lot of really good players. I've got a returning quarterback that makes a world of difference. That he started in 15 games all the way in the state championship game. We've got 4 linemen back from last year's team, offensive linemen. Certainly Ashton and Mekhi. You have 2 of the best skill players, two-way guys in the country. Linebackers, a couple D lineman guys. So, and then a few guys in the secondary. So we bring back a good piece. And so, but always for us, and I think for most coaches, they tell you, you've got to develop your younger kids. Those are the ones stepping in that have to replace some really good seniors. And that's what we've been trying to do, is get our younger guys ready to play at the level those seniors and upperclassmen have been in.
And look, maybe I guess it goes back to you having your JV guys up there practicing from the beginning, so you kind of got an idea when they need to step in, who can do what. It's a great philosophy. Not many schools do that, and I see you guys out there because they get a chance to work with your coaches, and they know what to do. I mean, I was impressed, Coach, sitting there watching. I don't come and speak to you every time I come out there, but I just like to watch how y'all practice.
Sure.
Now, Coach, coming into this, your first game is next week. I forgot. Ponte Vedra.
Yeah.
That's a bigger school, or is that insane? I don't know what the new classifications are.
Yeah.
Bigger school than you guys?
Yeah, they are. They're kind of the old school 7A. They're about a 7A school. They're huge over there in Ponte Vedra, just south of Jacksonville.
Yeah. Well, when you set you have a philosophy of setting your schedule with putting bigger schools on there to help you get prepared for the playoffs.
We do. Again, we want to play good competition, really good coaches. That one came about. Steve Price, who was at NFC for all those years, is the head coach at Ponte Vedra. Steve's an incredible guy and a really good coach. So that team will be extremely well coached. They're big, strong. So, they're going to be well coached. They're going to play really hard. We've got to play really good football to beat those guys. So, and it's another game that will really help us, we think, as time goes on. But our guys are excited to play. Not getting a chance to play next week. They're chomping at the bit to play.
I understand. Now, with the classification now, I know in the past we played by regions. This is a district, a specific district now.
Yeah, we're back in the districts, and obviously it's us, Gadsden County, Mariana, and Godby, all in a district. So, again, a bunch of good schools, good coaches. You got to be ready to go.
That's awesome. One last thing.
Sure.
What is the philosophy of Florida when you talk to your kids? What's your philosophy?
I think nothing's bigger than the team. It doesn't matter whether you are guys like those guys I mentioned, so many more of the play that, this is the ultimate team sport. And you can have great individual players, but if you're not cohesively together, as a unit, those things show up. And I think that's the biggest thing that we try to get our guys to understand, to be unselfish, really to play a team game and make sure we develop them. And again, from a whole program, that speaks truth. If you're a JV guy right now, you might be called upon later on in the season to help on special teams, help add some depth. So it's always been one team, one goal for us. Has been something that we've always, talked about, and just making sure that nothing is more important than the guy next to you. And if you're working that hard and understand that philosophy, the wins show up.